The Great Depression wasn't just a time of hardship, it was a crash course in survival. With money scarce and food prices high, American families turned to their backyards for hope, growing whatever they could to keep dinner on the table. But it wasn't luck that kept them fed. It was knowledge, clever, time-tested tricks that turned even poor soil into abundance. Today, we're uncovering 20 Great Depression gardening tricks that actually work and still do. Newspaper seed pots. Before plastic trays, families rolled old newspapers into small pots for seedlings. They were biodegradable, free, and could be planted directly into the soil. No transplant shock, no waste. Saving every seed. Nothing went to waste, not even a single tomato seed. Families saved seeds from each harvest, labeling envelopes by hand and swapping them with neighbors. Seed saving wasn't just thrifty, it preserved heirloom varieties that still exist today. The Ash Fertilizer Trick. Wood ashes from the stove weren't thrown out, they were sprinkled over garden beds. Ash added potassium and helped repel pests like slugs. A Depression-era version of organic fertilizer. The water barrel system. With no fancy irrigation, rain barrels were gold. Every drop from the roof was saved in metal drums to water vegetables through dry spells. It was free, sustainable, and smart. Companion planting. People knew instinctively which plants worked together. Corn, beans, and squash, the three sisters, supported and protected each other, reducing pests and feeding families with complete nutrition. Coffee grounds for growth. Nothing was wasted, not even yesterday's coffee. Grounds were mixed into garden soil for nitrogen, helping tomatoes and greens thrive long before store fertilizers existed. Homemade compost pits, food scraps, manure, and garden waste went into backyard compost heaps, sometimes just a hole in the ground. It wasn't about being eco-friendly, it was survival through soil health. Cold frames from old windows. Old storm windows and scrap wood became cold frames. These homemade mini greenhouses stretched the growing season and gave seedlings an early start in the chilly spring. Planting by the moon. Many gardeners swore by the lunar cycle. They believed certain phases encouraged stronger roots or better yields, a tradition rooted in observation, not superstition. Buried clay pots for irrigation. Unglazed clay pots, called aulas, were buried between plants and filled with water. Moisture seeped slowly through the walls, keeping roots hydrated with almost no waste. Using Manure Tea. Buckets of manure were steeped in water to create a rich tea fertilizer. Smelly, yes, but incredibly effective. Plants loved it, and it cost nothing. Mixing sand into carrot beds. To grow straight, tender carrots, gardeners mixed sand into heavy soil. It improved drainage and made harvesting easier, a simple trick still used today. The string garden grid. Instead of fancy planters, people tied string in square grids over garden beds. Each square marked a plant spot, ensuring no wasted space. A precursor to modern square-foot gardening. Eggshell Boost. Crushed eggshells were scattered into planting holes for calcium. They strengthened tomato and pepper plants and helped prevent blossom end rot. Crop rotation. Farmers and gardeners alike knew better than to exhaust their soil. They rotated crops yearly. Beans one year, corn the next, to keep nutrients balanced naturally. The Victory Garden spirit. During and after the Depression, Victory Gardens weren't just patriotic, they were survival gardens. Families grew in every inch of available soil, even in city lots, alleys, and rooftops. Onion bags for storage. Harvested onions were braided by their stalks and hung in cool sheds or kitchens. No plastic crates, no electricity, just airflow and patience. Milk jug cloches. Broken milk jugs or glass jars were placed over young plants to protect from frost. Simple, free, and surprisingly effective. Bartering garden goods. If one family had too many tomatoes and another had eggs, they traded. Gardening wasn't just food security, it was community currency. Replanting kitchen scraps, celery, green onions, even potatoes were regrown from kitchen scraps. One plant could start a new patch, turning kitchen waste into endless food.